Commander Thalia checked her scanner for the third time. The distress signal pulsed weakly from the debris field ahead. Her ship, the Clarity, drifted silently through the wreckage of what appeared to be a recent battle. "Commander, I detect one life sign," her second officer reported, faint but stable. Thalia's silver eyes narrowed. Her people, the Zenari, were trained to think logically. Emotions were considered weaknesses. Rescuing strangers was inefficient, unless it served a tactical purpose. Yet something about this signal felt different. "Prepare a boarding team," she ordered. The wreckage belonged to a human vessel. Thalia had heard of humans, the newcomers to the galactic community. They were young, reckless, and strangely emotional. Most species found them puzzling. The Zenari found them concerning. Inside the shattered hull, they found him. The human was pinned beneath a collapsed support beam, his uniform torn and bloodied. But instead of calling for help, he was frantically working on a small device, his hands shaking but determined. "The beacon," he muttered through gritted teeth. "Have to. Warn them." Thalia stepped forward. "You are badly injured. Stop moving." The human's head snapped up. His brown eyes widened at the sight of her tall, pale-skinned, with the distinctive silver markings of a Zenari warrior. But he didn't show fear. Instead, he tried to smile. "Well, you're not a pirate," he said weakly. "That's good news. You need medical attention," Thalia said, signaling her team to lift the beam. "The beacon first," the human insisted. "My crew. They died getting this intelligence. Pirates are using this sector as a staging ground. Someone has to know." Thalia studied him. This was illogical. He was dying, yet he prioritized a mission for people who were already dead. What purpose did this serve? "Your crew is gone," she said flatly. The mission died with them. Something flashed in the human's eyes, not anger, but something deeper. "Then I'll finish it for them. They were my friends, my brothers. I won't let their sacrifice mean nothing." Brothers. The word meant biological siblings in most species. But humans used it differently. Thalia knew. They used it for bonds that had no genetic basis. "How strange." "We will handle the beacon," she said finally. "You will receive medical treatment." The human slumped in relief as her team carefully extracted him. "Thank you. I'm Marcus, by the way, Lieutenant Marcus Chen, Commander Thalia of the Zenari Exploration Fleet." "Zenari," Marcus said, his voice growing weaker. "Read about your people. Logic-based. Efficient. You must think I'm crazy. I think you are injured and talking too much." Despite his pain, Marcus laughed. It was a short, rough sound, but genuine. Thalia found it odd. Nothing about their situation was amusing. 2 days later, Marcus was recovering in the medical bay. The Zenari doctor had repaired his injuries with typical efficiency. Thalia visited him to gather information about the pirates. She found him staring at a small data pad, his expression soft. "What are you viewing?" she asked. Marcus looked up, startled. "Oh, Commander, just pictures from home." He turned the pad toward her. "My family." The image showed several humans of varying ages, all smiling. They stood close together, arms around each other. "This is my mom and dad," Marcus explained, pointing. "That's my sister Jessica and her husband Tom. And these little troublemakers are my niece and nephew Emma and Kai." Thalia examined the image. "Your genetic relatives." "Yeah, my family," Marcus said warmly. "I haven't seen them in 8 months. Military assignments, you know. But I call them every week. Well, when I can." "Why?" The question escaped before Thalia could stop it. Marcus blinked. "Why what?" Quote, "Why maintain contact? You are assigned elsewhere. They cannot assist you in your duties." Marcus sat up slowly, his expression puzzled. "Because I love them. Because they're my family." "Don't you? Don't your people have families?" "We are raised in institutional facilities," Thalia explained. Genetic material is selected for optimal traits. Emotional attachments to biological parents are discouraged. They serve no logical purpose. Marcus stared at her for a long moment. His face showed something Thalia couldn't quite identify. Was it sadness? Pity? I'm sorry, that sounds lonely. Loneliness is an emotion. It is inefficient. Maybe, Marcus said quietly. But family isn't about efficiency. It's about having people who care about you, who you'd do anything for, who make life worth living. Before Thalia could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Commander to the bridge. Her officer's voice crackled over the communicator. We're under attack. Thalia ran toward the bridge, but Marcus was already moving, ignoring the doctor's protests. You should stay here, Thalia commanded. Your ship is under attack, Marcus said, limping after her. I'm a combat engineer. I can help. You are injured, and this is not your vessel. Marcus met her eyes. You saved my life. I won't hide while you fight. There was no time to argue. The ship shuddered as weapons fire struck the shields. On the bridge, chaos waited. 3 pirate ships surrounded them, their weapons charging for another strike. Shields at 60%. Her tactical officer reported. Marcus studied the tactical display for only seconds. Commander, their formation, there's a gap in their coverage. If you angle the ship 30 degrees port and fire at their lead vessel's starboard engine, the explosion will disable their targeting systems. Thalia processed his suggestion. It was unconventional, but tactically sound. Execute the maneuver, she ordered. The plan worked perfectly. The pirate formation broke apart in confusion, giving the Clarity time to escape into faster-than-light travel. As the ship settled into safety, Thalia found Marcus in the corridor, leaning against the wall, clearly exhausted. You should rest, she said. We won? Yes. Your tactics were effective. Marcus smiled tiredly. Good. That's what family does. We help each other. I am not your family. Maybe not yet, Marcus said. But you saved me. I helped save you. That's a start, isn't it? As he walked away toward medical, Thalia stood still, processing his words. She had never considered such connections before. The Zenari way was clear. Logic above all else. But watching Marcus risk himself for strangers made her wonder perhaps humans understood something her people had forgotten. The journey to the nearest human outpost would take 5 days. Thalia had orders to deliver Marcus safely and return to Zenari space. It should have been a simple mission. But nothing about Marcus Chen was simple. On the second day, Thalia found him in the observation deck, staring at the stars. She had come to ask more questions about the pirates, but he spoke before she could. Do you see that constellation? Marcus pointed toward a cluster of bright stars. From Earth, we call that Orion. My dad taught me to find it when I was 6 years old. Thalia looked at the stars. They were simply stars, distant suns, with no tactical value to their current position. Why would he teach you this? She asked. Marcus smiled. Because that's what fathers do. They teach their kids things. Not always useful things, but things that connect us. Every time I see those stars, I think of him, of standing in our backyard on cold nights, drinking hot chocolate, while he told me stories about ancient hunters and heroes. Stories that were not true? No, they were myths. But truth isn't always about facts, Commander. Sometimes it's about meaning. About feeling connected to something bigger than yourself. Thalia sat down across from him. Against her training, she found herself curious. Tell me about your family. Why are these connections so important to humans? Marcus's face brightened. For the next hour, he talked. He described his mother, a doctor who worked long hours but never missed his childhood games. His father, an engineer who taught him to build things with his hands. His sister Jessica, who annoyed him endlessly but would fight anyone who threatened him. Last year, my nephew Kai was being bullied at school, Marcus said. The kid was twice his size. So Emma, she's only 9. She stood up to the bully and told him if he touched Kai again, their whole family would come for him. A 9-year-old human child threatened violence? Marcus laughed. Not real violence. But she meant it. That's family, Commander. We protect each other. Always. The Leah processed this information. The Zenari believe such emotional bonds make one vulnerable. An enemy could use your family against you. Maybe, Marcus admitted. But without them, what are we fighting for? What's the point of surviving if you're alone? The question lingered in the Thalia's mind long after Marcus left. On the third day, disaster struck. The ship's alarms wailed as 3 vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly in their path. Pirates, the same group that had attacked Marcus's original ship. They tracked us, the Leah's tactical officer reported. They want the intelligence data. Evasive maneuvers, Thalia commanded. But the pirates had chosen their ambush point well. Within minutes, the Clarity took heavy damage. Shields failing. We need to land now. The nearest planet was a barren moon with a thin atmosphere. Thalia brought the ship down hard. The landing more crash than controlled descent. When the dust settled, they were alive but stranded. The ship needed major repairs. Their supplies were limited, and the pirates were landing nearby. We have perhaps 2 days before they locate us, Thalia told her crew. Prepare defenses. Marcus appeared at her side, carrying tools. I can help repair the engines. But we'll need to find some rare minerals from the surface. This moon might have them. You are not my crew, Thalia said. You should rest. Commander, we've had this conversation. I don't abandon people who need help. They took a small team to explore the moon's cave systems. The landscape was harsh, sharp rocks, thin air, and bitter cold. Thalia noticed Marcus struggling but saying nothing. That evening, they made camp in a cave. Thalia distributed food rations, carefully calculated portions for optimal nutrition. She noticed Marcus gave half his portion to a young Zenari officer who looked exhausted. You need those nutrients, Thalia said sharply. Marcus shrugged. I had a big breakfast. You are lying. I saw what you consumed this morning. Why sacrifice your resources? Marcus looked at the young officer, who was eating gratefully. Because he needs it more than me right now. I've been through survival training. I can handle being a little hungry. He is not your family. Not even your species. Doesn't matter, Marcus said simply. He's part of this crew. That makes him worth protecting. Thalia sat in silence, watching Marcus settle down to sleep despite his hunger. This behavior violated every principle of logical self-preservation. Yet somehow, it felt right. The next day, while searching deeper caves, they discovered something unexpected, an ancient structure, clearly not built by any current civilization. Inside, holographic displays activated at their presence, showing star maps and alien text. Marcus's translation device worked partially. It's a warning, he said, his voice tense. Something about a coming threat. A force that destroys divided civilizations. Thalia studied the display. Certain symbols stood out, representations of different species working together. Among them, she recognized Zenari and human forms. This archive is thousands of years old, she said. It specifically mentions our species. Both of them. Key pieces, Marcus read. It says humans and Zenari are key pieces to stopping what's coming. But only if we can unite. Before they could investigate further, an explosion rocked the cave entrance. The pirates had found them. Fall back, Thalia ordered. Her team fought their way out. But they were outnumbered. Just as they reached their shuttle, Marcus's communication device crackled to life. The message made his face go pale. What is it? Thalia demanded. It's from my sister, Marcus said, his voice shaking. New Hope Colony, where my family lives, they're under attack. Heavy casualties. They're calling for any nearby ships to help. Thalia calculated quickly. New Hope Colony is 4 hours in the opposite direction of the human outpost. We do not have resources for both missions. Marcus stood frozen, torn between duty and family. Thalia could see the war raging inside him. The same emotions her people had engineered away. Then she surprised herself. "We go to New Hope Colony," she said firmly. "Commander, your orders." "My orders can wait." "Your family cannot." Thalia met Marcus's shocked gaze. "You said family protects each other." "Always." "If this is true, then we must go." "You'd risk your career for my family?" Thalia thought about the past few days, about Marcus giving his food to strangers, about him fighting for her ship despite his injuries, about the warmth in his voice when he spoke of his mother and father. "You have shown me something I did not understand before," she said. "Perhaps it is time I learned what family truly means." Marcus's expression shifted, gratitude, hope, and determination mixing together. "Then let's go save them. Together." As they raced back to the damaged ship, Thalia felt something strange in her chest. Not logic, not calculation. Something warmer, more urgent. She was beginning to understand what humans called caring, and it terrified her more than any battle ever had. The Clarity limped through space, its damaged engines pushed to maximum capacity. Thalia watched Marcus pace the bridge, his jaw tight with worry. Every minute felt like an hour. "We're still 3 hours out," her navigation officer reported. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Thalia recognized the gesture. He was trying to control his fear. Emotions were considered weaknesses among her people. Yet watching Marcus struggle with his made her want to help somehow. "Your family are survivors," she said quietly. "The distress call means they are still fighting." Marcus nodded, but his hands were shaking. "My niece Emma is only 9 years old. My nephew Kai is 7. They shouldn't be anywhere near a battle. Do humans not evacuate their young during conflicts?" "We try," Marcus said. "But New Hope is a frontier colony. There's nowhere to evacuate to. Everyone fights, or everyone dies." The concept disturbed Thalia. Zenari children were kept in secure facilities, far from any danger. But she said nothing, focusing instead on pushing the ship faster. They arrived to chaos. New Hope Colony was under siege. Pirate ships circled overhead, firing on the settlement's shields. On the ground, Thalia could see defensive barricades and small figures running between buildings. "Shields are at 20%, Marcus read from the colony's broadcast. "They won't last another hour." "Tactical analysis," Thalia ordered. Her officer brought up the display. 6 pirate vessels. Colony has minimal defenses. They're outnumbered 4-1 on the ground. "Then we even the odds," Thalia said. "Target their command ship. Full weapons." The Clarity might have been damaged, but its weapons still worked. Their surprise attack destroyed one pirate ship and scattered the others, giving the colony precious breathing room. As soon as they landed, Marcus was out of his seat and running. Thalia followed with her security team. The colony was a war zone. Buildings burned, wounded civilians huddled in shelters, and everywhere, humans fought with desperate courage. "Marcus!" a woman's voice called out. A human female ran toward them, rifle in hand and blood on her jacket. She grabbed Marcus in a fierce embrace. "Mom," Marcus said, his voice thick with relief. "You're okay." "Takes more than pirates to stop me," his mother said. She was older, with gray hair and kind eyes that had seen too much violence today. "Jessica and the kids are at the medical center. Your father's at the generator station." She turned to the Thalia. "You must be the Zenari commander Marcus mentioned in his message. Thank you for bringing my son home. I am Commander Thalia. We came to assist." Marcus's mother smiled despite the chaos around them. "Any friend of Marcus is family to us. Come on. We need to reinforce the eastern barricade before they break through." Thalia had commanded many military operations. She understood tactics, strategy, and efficient deployment of forces. But she had never seen anything like this. The humans fought not as trained soldiers, but as a community. Elderly civilians operated weapons alongside teenagers. A man who looked like a teacher coordinated supply runs. Marcus's father, a gray-haired engineer, had jury-rigged the colony's mining equipment into makeshift cannons. "Thalia, over here," Marcus called. He had found his sister Jessica pinned down behind an overturned vehicle with 3 wounded colonists. Pirate fighters were advancing on their position. Without thinking, Thalia charged forward, her weapon firing. Her training took over precise shots, efficient movements. But then she heard Marcus beside her. And something changed. He wasn't just fighting, he was protecting. Every shot he took was to shield his sister, to keep the wounded safe. Together, they drove the pirates back. Jessica grabbed her brother as soon as they reached cover. "You crazy idiot! You came back." "Of course I came back," Marcus said. "You're my sister." Jessica turned to the Thalia, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "Thank you for protecting him, for bringing him home." "He insisted on coming," Thalia said. "I merely provided transportation." "She's being modest," Marcus said. "She risked everything to get me here." A small voice interrupted them. "Uncle Marcus?" 2 children emerged from the medical center, a girl with braided hair and a younger boy clutching a stuffed animal. Despite the terror around them, their faces lit up when they saw Marcus. "Emma! Kai!" Marcus knelt down, and they crashed into him. "We were so scared," Emma said. "But Mom said you'd come. She said family always comes." Thalia watched this reunion, feeling something strange in her chest. These bonds, illogical, inefficient, purely emotional, somehow gave these humans strength that defied calculation. An explosion nearby shattered the moment. "They're pushing hard on the western wall," someone shouted. Marcus's mother was already moving. "Jessica, get the kids back inside." "Marcus, we need you at the generator." "Thalia." She paused, then smiled. "I could use a good tactician up on the command tower." "You want my assistance?" Thalia asked, surprised. "You came to help my son. You fought beside my daughter. That makes you part of this family now. And family fights together." The word struck Thalia like a physical blow. Part of the family. She had never been part of anyone's family. The concept was foreign, illogical. "And yet, I will help," she said quietly. From the command tower, Thalia coordinated the defense, while Marcus's mother, Dr. Chen, managed the medical teams. The woman was remarkable, switching between treating wounded and calling tactical orders without missing a beat. "You fight well for a doctor," Thalia observed. Dr. Chen smiled grimly. "Frontier colonies teach you to be flexible. I heal people when I can, protect them when I must. That's what mothers do. The Zanari do not have mothers in this sense." "Then I'm sorry for your people," Dr. Chen said. "Everyone deserves someone who loves them unconditionally. Someone who would move mountains to keep them safe." Below, Thalia watched Marcus working frantically to repair the generator while his father provided cover fire. She saw Jessica running medical supplies through active combat zones. She saw Emma helping younger children to safety. And even young Kai carrying water to exhausted defenders. This was family. Not genetics or contracts, but choice. They chose to protect each other, to sacrifice for each other, to stand together against impossible odds, and they were losing. "Commander, incoming transmission," her officer called. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Thalia's heart sank. More pirates would mean the end, but the identification codes were wrong. "Those are Zanari military vessels," she said, confused. "But how?" "Actually," her officer said carefully, "they're rogue Zanari. The same faction that attacked Marcus's original ship. And Commander. They're broadcasting on all channels." The message played. A cold Zanari voice filled the air. "Attention, human colony. You harbor emotional weakness that threatens galactic stability. You are contamination that must be cleansed. Surrender now or be purged." Thalia's blood ran cold. This wasn't random piracy. This was genocide. Marcus appeared at her side, his face pale. "They're not here to rob us. They're here to exterminate us. Because we feel," Dr. Chen said quietly. "Because we love our families. Because we're human." Thalia looked at the people around her, tired, scared, but unbroken. She thought about Marcus's kindness, Emma's courage, Dr. Chen's strength, and she made a choice. "No," she said firmly. "Not today. Not ever." Marcus stared at her. Those are your people. You are my people now, Thalia said, and meant it with every fiber of her being. And I protect my family. The rogue Zenari ships descended like silver daggers from the sky. Thalia watched from the command tower, her mind racing through impossible calculations. 6 enemy vessels, each more advanced than the pirate ships they had just fought. Her damaged ship and a colony of frightened civilians stood no chance. We need to evacuate, Marcus said urgently. Get the children to the underground shelters. They will find the shelters, Thalia said. These are not pirates seeking profit. They are Zenari extremists seeking elimination. They will not stop until every human here is dead. Dr. Chen's face hardened. Then we make our stand here. Together. Mom, you can't, Marcus started. Marcus Chen, I brought you into this world, and I'll be here to protect it with you, his mother said firmly. Now stop arguing and help fortify those barricades. Thalia marveled at this exchange. Even facing death, they protected each other first. No Zenari would sacrifice themselves for mere emotional bonds, or would they? An idea formed in her mind. Dangerous, probably suicidal, but it was their only chance. I must return to my ship, Thalia announced. I will contact the Zenari High Command and request assistance. I will. They'll never make it in time, Jessica said. No, Thalia agreed. But perhaps I can buy us time another way. Marcus grabbed her arm. What are you planning? Thalia met his eyes. Trust me. As you say, family protects each other. Before he could respond, she was running toward the Clarity. Aboard her ship, Thalia initiated a direct communication channel to the rogue Zenari fleet. A cold-faced commander appeared on screen, Commander Vexan, known for his extremist views about emotional purification. Commander, Thalia, Vexan said, you were reported missing. I see you have been. Compromised by human contact. I have been protecting a human survivor, as protocol requires, Thalia said carefully. I am prepared to surrender him to your custody. Vexan's expression didn't change. Insufficient. The entire colony must be cleansed. They represent emotional contamination that threatens our species' purity. They are civilians, women and children. They are carriers of weakness. The galaxy will be stronger without them. Vexan leaned forward. You have 1 hour to evacuate, Commander. We extend this courtesy only because you are Zenari. After that, we commence purification protocols. The transmission ended. Thalia's hands shook not from fear, but from rage. This was what pure logic without compassion created. Monsters who could justify genocide with equations. She opened a new communication channel, this time to Zenari High Command. The message would take hours to reach them, but she had to try. Then she accessed her ship's secure database and began searching through classified files. There had to be something, some weakness in the extremist philosophy. Some ammunition she could use. What she found made her blood freeze. The files detailed Project Purification, a centuries-old Zenari initiative that had genetically modified their species to suppress emotional capacity. Before the modification, Zenari had been different. They had formed family bonds, felt love, experienced joy and sorrow. They had been like humans. The project's architects believed emotions made them weak, so they engineered them away, generation by generation, until modern Zenari barely recognized what they had lost. But the ancient archive's warning now made terrible sense. Species that abandoned emotional connections could not unite against existential threats. They became isolated, rigid, vulnerable. The extremists weren't protecting Zenari purity. They were ensuring their extinction. Thalia downloaded the files and returned to the colony. She found Marcus with his family in what they called the Community Center, a large building where colonists had gathered. Children huddled with their parents. Elderly citizens comforted the young. Even now, facing annihilation, they stayed together. Thalia, Emma ran up to her. Are the bad ships leaving? Thalia knelt down to the child's level. Not yet, little one. But we are working on it. Mom says you're helping us because we're family now, Emma said. Is that true? Thalia looked at Marcus, who watched her with quiet intensity. Then at Dr. Chen, who had treated her with kindness, despite being a stranger. At Jessica, who had thanked her for protecting her brother. At young Kai, who offered her his stuffed animal, for luck. Yes, Thalia said softly. That is true. Emma hugged her suddenly, and Thalia froze. Physical affection was not common among Zenari, but slowly, carefully, she returned the embrace. When Emma ran back to her mother, Thalia stood and addressed the room. I have discovered something important, she announced. The Zenari attacking you are extremists who believe emotions are weakness, but I have found proof that my species once had families. Just like yours. We felt love. We formed bonds. She displayed the historical files on a projector. We chose to eliminate these traits, believing it would make us stronger. But the ancient warnings suggest the opposite species, without emotional connections, cannot survive existential threats. Marcus stepped forward. What are you saying? I am saying that you are not the contamination. We are. The Zenari lost something precious, and seeing you, seeing your families, your courage, your willingness to sacrifice for each other, I understand what we gave up. Dr. Chen approached her. Thalia, even if all this is true, how does it help us now? I must return to Zenari space, Thalia said. I must present this evidence to the High Command. If I can make them understand what we have lost, they may reverse the extremist policies. That's a suicide mission, Marcus said flatly. Vexon will kill you the moment you leave this planet's atmosphere. Perhaps, but it is the logical course of action. No. Marcus grabbed her hand. You're not doing this alone. I'm coming with you. Marcus. No, his mother started. Mom, she's right. Someone has to try, and I won't let her face this alone. Marcus looked at Thalia. You stood with my family. I stand with you. Doctor. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then she hugged her son tightly. You come back to us. You hear me? Both of you. I will, Marcus promised. Jessica hugged him next, whispering something in his ear that made him nod solemnly. Even Emma and Kai hugged him goodbye, though they didn't fully understand where he was going. As they prepared to leave, Thalia pulled Dr. Chen aside. If we fail, she began. You won't fail, Doctor, Chen interrupted. You know why? Because you finally understand what you're fighting for. Not logic or efficiency or genetic purity. You're fighting for connection, for belonging, for love. She smiled. Welcome to the family, Thalia. Now go save the galaxy. Aboard the Clarity, Marcus sat beside Thalia as they approached the Zenari fleet. I am afraid, Thalia admitted quietly. Of dying? No. Of never seeing them again. Your mother, your sister, the children. Of never having the chance to truly be part of your family. She looked at him. Is this what you feel? This terrible, wonderful ache? Marcus smiled sadly. Yeah, that's love. It hurts sometimes, but it's worth it. I am beginning to understand. The Zenari ships surrounded them. Vexen's face appeared on screen, cold and merciless. Commander Thalia, you are under arrest for treason and emotional contamination. Surrender immediately. Thalia straightened her spine. I will surrender. But first, I invoke the right of truth. I have evidence that concerns the survival of our entire species. Vexen's eyes narrowed. The right of truth was ancient law, predating even the genetic modifications. He could not refuse without violating protocols older than his extremist movement. Very well, he said coldly. You will present your evidence before the council. Then you will be executed. As Zenari soldiers boarded her ship to take them into custody, Marcus squeezed Thalia's hand once. Whatever happens, he said. I'm glad I met you. As am I, Thalia whispered. As am I. The Zenari council chamber was a massive room of cold, silver metal and harsh blue lights. Thalia stood in the center, her hands bound, with Marcus beside her. Around them, 12 council members sat in judgment, the most powerful Zenari in the galaxy. Commander Vexan presented his case first. This officer has been contaminated by human emotional weakness, he declared. She has abandoned logic and duty. She must be purged, along with the human colony she protects. The colony has done nothing wrong, Thalia said firmly. They are innocent civilians. They spread emotional contagion, Vexen countered. Already, this officer displays irrational attachment. She has become compromised. The head counselor, an ancient Zenari named Karthos, studied Thalia with unreadable eyes. Commander Thalia, you invoked the right of truth. Present your evidence. Thalia activated her data files. Holographic displays filled the chamber, historical records, genetic analyses, and most importantly, the ancient archives warning. Honorable Council, I present proof that our species once possessed emotional capacity similar to humans. We formed family bonds. We felt love, joy, and connection. These traits were systematically eliminated through Project Purification. Murmurs rippled through the council. Furthermore, Thalia continued, the ancient archive warns that species lacking emotional bonds cannot survive the coming existential threat. By eliminating our capacity for connection, we have made ourselves vulnerable. Lies, Vexen shouted. Emotions are weakness. They cloud judgment and reduce efficiency. Do they? Thalia turned to face him. I have witnessed humans fight with courage that defies logic. A mother who commands medical operations while under fire. A father who risks his life to protect strangers. Children who show bravery that trained soldiers might lack. They are strong because of their bonds, not despite them. Karthos raised a hand for silence. These are interesting claims, Commander, but claims are not proof. How do we know the human's way is superior to ours? Before Thalia could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Emergency alert, a technician called out. Unidentified vessels entering the system. Hundreds of them. The council chamber's screens showed the nightmare made real. Massive ships, black as space itself, emerged from unknown coordinates. Their design was unlike anything in the galactic database. The archive's warning, Thalia whispered. The existential threat. It has arrived. The hive mind species attacked, without communication or mercy. Their tactics were perfect, coordinated, and utterly emotionless. Within minutes, Zenari defense fleets were being systematically destroyed. They anticipate every logical response, Karthos said, watching the tactical displays in horror. Our strategies are useless against them. Because they think like you. Marcus spoke for the first time. Pure logic versus pure logic. You're evenly matched, which means you'll both just grind each other down until nothing's left. Vexen glared at him. Silence, human. Your primitive emotions cannot. The station shook as weapons fire struck their shields. Our shields are failing, the technician reported. We have perhaps 20 minutes before total collapse. Karthos looked at Thalia. You have studied both humans and Zenari. Is there a way to defeat this enemy? Thalia's mind raced. Then she remembered Marcus fighting to protect his family, using unpredictable tactics born from desperation and love. The colonists coordinating not through perfect logic, but through trust and instinct. Yes, she said, but you must trust me, and you must contact the humans. The humans have no fleet in this sector. Vexen protested. New Hope Colony sent out a distress call. Thalia said, other human ships will have responded. If we can coordinate with them, combine Zenari logic with human intuition, we might create strategies the hive mind cannot predict. Karthos hesitated only a moment. Do it. The communication channel opened. Dr. Chen's face appeared on screen, and Thalia nearly collapsed with relief. She was alive. Commander Thalia. Doctor, Chen said. We received word. You were captured. Are you? No time, Thalia interrupted. The existential threat from the archive has arrived. We need your help. All human ships in range must coordinate with the Zenari fleet. Doctor, Chen's expression turned serious. After your people tried to destroy our colony? I know we have given you no reason to trust us, Thalia said. But if we do not work together, both our species will be extinct before sunrise. Please. For our families. For our future. Doctor. Chen looked off screen, consulting with others. Then she turned back. We have 17 ships. Mostly transports and mining vessels. But we'll fight. On one condition after this is over. You stop the genocide. Our people get to live in peace. Agreed, Karthos said immediately. Within minutes, human ships arrived. They were mismatched, poorly armed, and completely chaotic by Zenari standards. But they brought something the Zenari had lost: unpredictability. Thalia and Marcus worked together, coordinating the joint fleet. Zenari ships provided logical frameworks and precise calculations. Human ships added creative chaos, unexpected maneuvers, emotional decisions, and tactics that made no logical sense but somehow worked. The hive mind struggled to adapt. Their perfect logic could counter Zenari's strategies, but human improvisation confused their algorithms. When a human captain deliberately damaged his own ship to create a debris field, the hive mind never saw it coming. They are adapting, Karthos warned. Learning our patterns. Then we change the patterns, Marcus said. He opened a channel to all human ships. All vessels. Remember what we're fighting for. Remember your families. Fight like humans, messy, crazy. And with everything you've got. A ragged cheer went up from the human ships. The battle raged for hours. Ships on both sides fell. But slowly, the tide turned. The hive mind, built on pure logic, could not comprehend opponents who fought with their hearts as much as their minds. When the final hive ship retreated into faster-than-light travel, a stunned silence fell over the combined fleet. They had won. 2 weeks later, Thalia stood outside a small house in New Hope Colony. Repairs were underway, and the settlement was slowly returning to life. The door opened. Dr. Chen smiled warmly. Thalia, come in. Dinner's almost ready. Inside, the house was chaos. Emma and Kai were arguing over a game. Jessica was setting the table, while her husband told a story that made everyone laugh. Marcus's father was teaching a young Zenari officer, one of several who had asked to stay and learn about human families, how to cook. And Marcus stood in the kitchen, wearing an apron, and somehow burning water. You came? He said, his face lighting up. You invited me, Thalia replied. You said it was family dinner. I am part of your family now, yes? Doctor. Chen wrapped an arm around her shoulders. Honey, you've been part of this family since you chose to help us. Now sit down. You're way too skinny. We need to feed you properly. Dinner was loud, messy, and completely illogical. People talked over each other. Food was passed in random directions. Emma spilled her drink twice. Kai told terrible jokes that everyone laughed at anyway. It was perfect. After dinner, Thalia stood on the porch with Marcus, watching the twin moons rise. The council has asked me to serve as a liaison, she said, to help reintroduce family bonds to Zenari culture. To reverse the genetic modifications, slowly, over generations. That's amazing, Marcus said. You're going to change your entire civilization. I am frightened, Thalia admitted. It is a massive task. You won't be alone, Marcus said. You'll have help. From your people. From humans. From... He hesitated. From me. If you want. Thalia turned to him. I never imagined a family with a human. The concept would have been impossible to me months ago. But now... She took his hand. Now I cannot imagine my life without this. Without you. Without all of you. Is that your logical brain talking? Or your heart? Both, Thalia said, and smiled. I am learning they work better together. Inside, Dr. Chen called them for dessert. Emma ran out to drag them back inside. Kai showed the Talia a drawing he had made, stick figures labeled, "Our Family," with a silver figure clearly meant to be her. As the Talia sat surrounded by noise and warmth and love, she understood something profound. She had spent her life seeking perfection through logic. But perfection was not efficient systems or calculated decisions. Perfection was this messy, chaotic, emotional, and absolutely worth everything. She had never imagined a family with a human. Now she had one, and she would never let it go. The end.